Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Kayfabe Coffee, the show that keeps it real while we pretend it's real. I'm your host this morning, Mr. OTM Kyle Gagliardi, the barista of broken kayfabe, if you will, pouring out hot takes stronger than a Starbucks shaken espresso. Welcome to Kayfabe Coffee here at the Main Event Wrestling Network. As you can see, it is a Thursday morning, which means I am not alone. I got my good friend JPJ in the house. Good morning, man. What's going on?
Not much, man. I'm doing well. Happy to be here. Yeah, man. Looking forward to chatting with you.
You've been a little quiet this week. I haven't seen you live as much.
The shoot job is it's been a week. I'm gonna have to probably work every day this week, not have a day off. So it's one of those weeks. So
Gotcha.
I'm getting off of here today and potentially just getting in my work clothes and going to work. So
That's not the most fun, but at least you get to talk a little bit of wrestling and have some coffee, right? You got your coffee with you, don't you?
I already had my coffee because that was the only way I could survive.
What was the drink of choice this morning? I got to know. You know.
I was just my usual. I was out and about, so it was my usual quad shot of espresso over ice with a little bit of oat milk.
Consistent. I like it. I got some stock iced coffee over here from the grocery store.
There we go.
Do the job.
Yeah. So that's why usually I'm live, for stuff like that. Monday night I was live for Raw like usual, but
that's right.
Yes, yesterday a little bit, but Tuesday, no. So we'll see how the rest of the week goes. I'm hoping it gets back to normal, but I don't know if anybody's ever worked retail out there.
Puggo was talking about it yesterday.
Yeah, you just know that sometimes you have those weeks where a few things happen one way, and it's like, if you're the boss, which I am fortunately and unfortunately the boss, if nobody else can kind of step up and take care of business, you got to take care of business yourself. So
you got to do it yourself, right?
It is what it is. Even though I don't own the business, I should just say fuck you and go on.
Right?
But it's just the way.
You're just a good person, man. That's all it is. You're just getting shit done, DIY. I guess I'll call you JPJ Wrestling over here or something like that. But I don't know if you caught it yesterday. We did have Pluggo on for episode 21, and we actually did create a challenge of sorts. So there's only been one vote for Team Pluggo on the last episode. So we're challenging the people in the comment section to decide if you are Team Pluggo or Team JPJ. Do you think you could beat one comment from last week, or from yesterday, I should say?
I mean, I hope. I'm not sure. I would like to. I've been here for... the guy shows up once and he's going to take,
You're a regular.
You don't even do them on Wednesdays. I don't know what kind of charity you were giving him. You must have felt bad for him or something. But
I did.
I've been here for a while. So, there we go.
There's already one. You're already tied. And this one's live, so that should count for double.
This is live, which should count.
You're winning.
And we're 5 minutes into the show, bro. So
that's pretty impressive. So you're at a 1 per 5 minute rate. Keep it coming, Team JPJ. We do love Pluggo. It was nice to hear about his.
Of course, I get to see his sweet face later on tonight.
I was gonna say you're gonna talk a little bit more about that tonight, aren't you? His squared circle experience.
Yeah, his squared circle experience. We're having a Stone Pain on that he linked up with there as well. So we got Stand and Deliver. I know you do NXT as well. We got Stand and Deliver to preview. We got a whole bunch of stuff. We'll probably talk about Dynamite, which we're going to get into now. So,
Dynamite was a little different this week. There was a lot more storytelling, which I actually enjoyed because that's something that AEW typically doesn't do.
I
guess I shouldn't say storytelling. What I'm trying to get at is there was less wrestling than usual, I think.
Yes. Yeah, I would agree. I think there was many more like promos or backstage segments and things like that, which makes sense. It's next week is the go home show to Dynasty. So it makes sense that they're kind of, putting the bows on all the stories. So next week is probably the action packed, like go home, like pay-per-view Sunday, like let's go.
Hammer all those matches out. Yeah,
exactly. Again, though, I thought another really solid to really good episode. The matches we did get were outstanding. Yeah. So.
Yeah, for the past couple of weeks, we've talked about it. The AEW Dynamite's never bad, but they were kind of down shows for their standards, I think. But I think this week is where things really started to ramp up. I feel like we're on the road to Dynasty, and it's kind of exciting for people like us that tune into both products. For me, for example, I'm going to WrestleMania, and I feel like the build to WrestleMania has really heated up over the past couple of weeks. So to have two different companies doing two completely different things, but both are doing it pretty good right now. It's a great time to be a wrestling fan. I know a lot of people are negative all the time, but I think it's a really good time right now to be a wrestling fan.
Yeah, I mean, it's the hot time of the year. It's WrestleMania time. That's the biggest time of the wrestling year, no matter what. And now you have AEW, who's throwing a pay-per-view the week before. So, you have Stand and Deliver. And I know not everybody watches NXT, and it's a different level of things compared to the other two. But like, you have NXT having their WrestleMania like pay-per-view this Saturday night. Then you got AEW throwing out Dynasty, and then the next week you got 2 nights of Mania. This is, it's a big.
And then we're on the Double or Nothing.
Yeah, and then Double or Nothing's a month away. Like, I mean, really, like nowadays, there's so much.
It's picking up now.
Yeah, it's picking up, but it picks up all the time now. It has felt like for the better part of the last year and a half, and this is not a complaint, that with both companies kind of doing what they've been doing and the way they structure and calendar their stuff out, it does feel like there's a big wrestling event every few weeks. Like there's something going on, right?
And maybe that's why I feel a little fatigued. That could be the case.
I think that's part of the reason why we all kind of feel that way a little bit. But now because it's Mania, it's that ramping is getting back up to where. And again, I don't think we're ever not excited about it. I just feel like, listen,
it's no matter energy right now.
Almost no matter everything. I'm going to say almost because I'm sure people can pick a few things. And if you get too much of something, eventually you're going to be like, all right, I think I need to, take a week off. Yeah, take a week off from going to that establishment or having that meal or what, you know what I mean? Like you don't get sick of it, but it becomes, give me something new.
You just need a mental reset.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but let's get into Dynamite here because it was a pretty good episode last night. Like you said, we are only less than 2 weeks away from AEW Dynasty, and a shocker to kick off Dynamite last night. It was a weird intro. The pyro was going on and off. I thought that was accidental, but it turns out it was definitely intentional because Judas hit. And yes, Chris Jericho has returned to AEW. There was plenty of rumors. A lot of people were speculating that when the box was the thing for Elimination Chamber, that Chris Jericho could be in the box. That wasn't the case. That was Danhausen. Then people tried to speak into a return going into WrestleMania. No, that's not the case because right here to kick off AEW Dynamite is Chris Jericho. So obviously I know this is a controversial character. Chris Jericho has his haters. He has his fans. I'm indifferent about him at this point of his career, but how did you feel seeing that moment? It was pretty shocking to see that kick off Dynamite last night.
I mean, yeah, they were in Winnipeg, so that's his hometown. So I wouldn't say that I was like 100% shocked. I thought there was a chance he would show up. I thought somebody else was going to show up, but maybe they show up tonight on Collision. I'm not sure, but I thought we were getting a different return for tonight.
What were you thinking?
I thought it was Mercedes was in Winnipeg. She defended and lost her Winnipeg champ. Yeah, so there's an open challenge for Willow's match. I know there's spoilers out there. I'm not a spoiler guy. I don't look at
it. They recorded that last night?
I think they did. I think, yeah. And can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
The Final Four is Saturday. So they and Illinois is where Tony Khan is affiliated with the University of Illinois. So I don't know if they just moved it to tonight because the Final Four. Because isn't the Final Four usually on CBS? It
usually is on CBS. Yeah, let me check my app.
I'm convinced if it's on CBS like normal, I'm convinced that Tony moved Collision tonight so he could be at the Final, which I respect.
You're so right. Yeah, no, I respect it too.
As a sports fan, I respect the shit out of
TBS and True. Right. Yeah.
Wow, why the fuck wouldn't they get the Final Four on CBS? What the hell?
You would think it's the Final Four that you put it on national television, a channel that everybody gets. What? That's a miss. So now we know why Collision happened
ridiculous.
Yesterday.
That is ridiculous.
Yes.
Again, it was a shocking return. It had been almost a year since we had seen the guy, and there was all this. It was all this speculation, like you said. He's going to WWE. His contract's up at the end of this month. Oh no, now he's still there, and his contract was frozen, and blah 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 blah. I know some people feel a certain way about Chris Jericho. I didn't hate this personally. He didn't do anything. He said one line. It's like he didn't. I will judge this more based on where he goes from here. It's his hometown. He hasn't been around. If he's still under contract, he's still a name, dude. Use 100%. The guy. Use the guy. He's still a name. They just need to use him correctly. He doesn't need to be really in anything that's
not anything that's a title scene, or at least a predominant title.
Yeah. I mean, even though, if you want my opinion, I think he's going to cost Kenny.
Oh no! Don't put that out there, man. Come on, not again.
I'm trying to think. Oh, Double or Nothing, because I think MJF's beaten Kenny one way or the other, right? So 100%. I'm like, okay, Double or Nothing. What's a big match for Kenny Omega? Him and Jericho in New York, I feel like is a big, like, on the surface.
Yeah, on the surface. Could run back him and Swerve too for a third time.
They could, but I just look at it and I go, I'm trying to think of non-title big time matches that people would, not everybody, but a lot of people would consider a big time match for Kenny Omega at Double or Nothing. Right. And I feel like Jericho has the thing of, hey, we were doing the Jets, whatever their friggin' name was.
Winnipeg Jets?
Yeah, well, yeah. But they had a tag team, Kenny and Jericho, and they called themselves the
Golden Jets, I think it was.
Golden Jets. Yeah. And then Kenny got sick. So Jericho can play, hey, you abandoned me. You left me. We were going to do these things. You left me, and then I was floundering, and, these people started to hate me. He could turn it around into anything he wants. Yeah. I'm not saying I want it to happen, but
no, I hear you.
I wouldn't be shocked.
I wouldn't be shocked either, because it seems like Chris Jericho, when he is active in AEW, is typically in a predominant role around the title scene.
But that's the problem. This time he can't, because that's why
I agree.
I don't think people got sick of Chris Jericho just because he's Chris Jericho. There's things to not like about him. Don't get me wrong.
It's outside of wrestling. I think that those things that people don't like.
Correct. Which I get it. I understand it. I think people got sick of Chris Jericho because he was taking up significant TV time every episode of television. Just like you just got to if you use him more sparingly and correctly. I don't think anybody's really going to, again, not personally, but on the show, I don't think anybody's going to have a problem with Chris Jericho being there.
I don't have a problem with it. Like I said, I'm not like a fan of his at this point of his career, and I'm going to be completely honest with you. I think I would have rather preferred him return to WWE just for nostalgia purposes. That's just me personally. I know I'm not alone on that take. I said a lot of people saying it, but I'm not disappointed about it, because look at the WWE main event scene right now. I know Chris Jericho's a little older than like the main event scene in the WWE, but wrestlers nowadays are wrestling late into their 50s. Like, Chris Jericho still looks like he's in good shape and can go for a little bit longer. So if he still provides value, which I think having a veteran like that, who's a Hall of Famer, first ballot Hall of Famer, to elevate talent, and that's the only thing is, will he? Because like you said, I think that's where this Chris Jericho needs to just pivot, is just be involved in the mid-card a little bit, elevate the younger talent, help out around the locker room, and he doesn't need to be in any major title scene. But I don't know if he will be or not. That's the thing. We're going to have to wait and see.
So that's why, listen, the music hit. I hadn't heard the music in a while, and I went, all right. And I said, okay. And it's in his hometown. Like I said, it's in his hometown. He's getting a huge pop. He's there. Again, if you're paying the guy, I assume, millions of dollars, and he's under contract, and if he wants to be used, I mean, use him. Again, don't steal my color, Chris, but he looked good. I love the purple. I'm a sucker for purple. Good. It's my favorite color.
I like the Tron. I like the new T-shirt. He's always got good merch. He just knows how to brand himself. Yeah.
And he's been doing it for a long time, and he changes his appearance every time he shows up or does something different. Like,
not many.
He knows what he's doing. He's a top 5 to 10 guy of all time.
He probably, and that, Eric, that's probably why he went back to AEW. Because, like, if you compare the two companies right now, I think Jericho would fit better in WWE, personally.
My thing is, it depends, again, I assume, again, you know what happens when you assume. I assume WWE was like, hey, yeah, we'll bring you in, but it's going to be a retirement tour. You'll get, 100%. You have a couple matches, you're going to retire, we'll give you a Hall of Fame, blah, blah. And if he's not ready for that, if he's like, no, I want to do shit for a year and then I can do that. And they're like, yeah, we don't need you for that. Like, he's going to get that in AEW.
And he did look good.
Yeah. And AEW, well, we've seen that too. There's been times where he fluctuates, and like he probably knew he was coming back. So he's like, let's get shredded, bro. Let's go. I'm not going to come back and be not the best I can be. At least I would think. But.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Pretty cool way to start AEW Dynamite, because like you said, they usually start with just straight wrestling too. And that's not what we got, because afterwards, Ospreay was attacked by Jon Moxley backstage, which ended up setting up a storyline later between the match with Ospreay and Pac, which that match was great. We will talk about that for sure. But we do now know, because this was originally scheduled to kick off the show, the contract signing between MJF and Kenny is now official for Dynasty. And I liked what MJF had to say. You know, he's bringing up the fact that, you know, Kenny Omega got a lot of his intestines taken out, that he's going to target that. He knows his weakness. And MJF just doing great MJF things. But Kenny Omega seemed very serious, very locked in. And a very serious Kenny Omega is dangerous for AEW, isn't it?
Yeah, big time. I like this. You know, I'm not the hugest guy when it comes to contract signings. And but this was good. I like how they just signed the contract right away. They didn't even like the segment started and MJF, before they even spoke a word to each other, MJF just signs the contract, Kenny signs it, and it's like, all right, we're not doing this. I mean, we got to the promos and the stuff after that, but we're not doing this rigmarole of I'm going to talk shit about you one more time, even though we've done it for 5 straight weeks. I'm going to talk shit about you, and then I'm going to get angry and sign the contract and throw it at you, and then you're going to do this, and then this is going to happen. It wasn't the same old thing. It was like, okay, we're both here. We both want this match. Let's sign this shit right away, and now I'm going to talk my shit to you because this is already happening.
Well, and the speedball involvement was a nice touch too. He's really getting elevated from this.
I love it. And I think it's really, really good. They did it last week when they teased it a little bit with him, you know, talking to Omega in the back and stuff like this. I love the way speedball got incorporated to the end of this. I love how it turned into a main event match that we'll talk about later. Yeah, this
great continuity really yesterday.
Yeah,
throughout the entire show.
Yeah, Max started off his promo by being Max and talking his shit and doing that stuff. And when he first started to talk, and Kenny immediately was like, "Shut up, dude."
We've heard the same, rigmarole.
Yeah, we've heard the same. Yeah. We've heard the same stuff. And then Kenny proceeded to say the same exact stuff that he said last week. But it's okay. It's okay.
He's a babyface. We don't point that up.
It's okay. We love Kenny Omega.
Yeah, we do.
He made the hair plug joke, which you could tell kind of irked Max for real, I think, a little bit.
I might need to get
those. Yeah, and it was good. And, you know, Kenny was good. And then Max kind of went into, hey, well, I know something you don't know. So my thought process is, well, he has a business arrangement with Don Callis. So did Don Callis give him this inside info? I know they teased it earlier during the main event match when Kenny was at whatever, when they were talking about it. But that was my thought process at the beginning. Oh, did he get some insider info from, because Callis obviously is basically was a father figure, like he's a mentor to Omega, you know? Yeah. So like that, I kind of leaned into that. And then Speedball came out and things got real fun.
Yeah, setting up that main event for later. It'd be an eliminator match. Another thing that I love that AEW does. It's just a unique concept, even though, like we've said before, those eliminator matches are usually predictable. The champion does usually win, but you never know for that one chance that there's an upset that happens. And then look at that. Speedball's in the main event scene, just like that. And that's why those matches are so cool. But after that, we got that match between Omega, Brody King, and Jack Perry, who defeated the Demand. Very interesting that the Demand is just thrown on the TV right after all that Ricochet stuff. I thought they'd maybe keep him off, but, you know, more power to him. It was a very competitive, fun match. I think all the 6-man matches that they typically do in AEW follow a similar format, but this one was really good, man. That's all I really got to say about that. You got anything to add here about this 6-man?
I mean, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I liked how they kind of transitioned Kenny going right from the signing to the match. Like they didn't have him do this later or something like that, because he did come out from for the signing in his wrestling gear, and I was like, oh yeah. No, I thought this was really good. I understand why Jack Perry was in it, because they were going against Ricochet, but it would have been fun to see a little Brodito reunion maybe with Kenny. But no, this was really, really good. Ricochet was tremendous in this match.
He's always good, man.
He's always
I know people hate who he is now on social media, but he's so consistent.
Yeah. He was excellent in this match. On commentary, Nigel, I think, called him the excellence of elevation.
Whew.
And I really liked that. I was like, oh, kind of like a Bret Hart, like excellence of execution, but excellence of elevation. I thought that was a nice little thing
Good
by
play on words
Nigel.
There.
Yeah, no, this was you just said it. AEW knows how to book these multi-people matches. We're having a multi-8-man tag tonight on Collision that I'm sure will also be a chaotic, entertaining match. Like, they just know how to book them.
It's their comfort match. That's how I would describe it.
I will say this: Toa Leona, the big guy in the DOA or whatever, he was very good in this match too. He was the anchor of, like, him and Ricochet. All three. I thought the Demand looked great in this match.
They're underrated.
Yeah, Toa Leona was like destroying dudes on the outside for like half this match.
And that's what big men should do. And
Exactly.
that's why I like him too.
Exactly.
I noticed that too. Like on the outside of the ring, he was getting involved in a lot of mayhem that was going on because this obviously was action that was all over the place. But the Demand as a whole is a group that I have liked. And they've kind of been together now, I think, for over a year, if I'm not mistaken, in AEW. So it might be time to heat them up a little bit. But obviously they're not going to defeat Kenny Omega, Brody King, and the national champion. Which, the national championship, man, I don't think it adds much to AEW personally. I'm curious on what you think about the title. I just don't care about it. I'm not emotionally invested into that title scene.
Yeah, I mean, it's a newer title. I think it was meant more to be like a traveling title. That's a vibe I got. It was meant to be more to be, like the guy who has it, like Ricochet was going and fighting on the Indies and defending it.
Has he been doing that?
He was doing it for a while. Like when he first won it, he was popping in and out of Indies and defending it and stuff. I don't know if Jack Perry. I don't know. Look at AEW had, especially really just on the men's side, because they only have the 3 women's belts, but they have too many titles, and it just is what it is. I don't have a lot of negatives usually to say about AEW, but they have too many titles and they just create more. And it's, you had the unified title and then you go
what's
back
the hierarchy here? Like, I know the AEW world title is at the top, but when you look at the national, continental, TNT, I feel like that's all just a mid-card title at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. And then and then there's the one that, so there's,
are we forgetting any more? Oh, ROH. Yeah. ROH is a title.
But so you have the world title, then you have the Continental, which Moxley has.
That might be the number 2.
Then you have this is the national champion.
Yeah.
Then you have the international that Okada has.
Oh my God, I forgot about that one.
Then you have the TNT, which the TNT was the number 2 title for the first multiple years of the company. And now it's just like, you have all, but my thing was, you had the Continental Championship, you had the International Championship. You combined those to make the Unified Championship, which to me was like, okay, that's the second. It's World Title, Unified, TNT. That's it. But then through the Continental Classic the following year with Moxley winning, now you separate the Unified titles, and now it's 2 separate. It's like
I would view Continental as number 2 just because they invest into a tournament every single year. Like if you're having a set tournament every year, that's a big deal. That's like a play-in essentially.
100%. Yeah, agreed.
So that's just a little gripe. Even though AEW as a whole doing great stuff, we're loving AEW right now, and we loved this match. This was Ospreay versus Pac 2. I was fortunate enough to see their first match live at All Out in Chicago in 2022, and personally, that is still one of my favorite matches that I have ever seen live. These two are just incredible, and the story obviously here, JPJ, was going back to that attack earlier in the night where Ospreay was attacked by the Death Riders. So he had a weak neck going into this match, but was able to prevail. Regardless, we got a nice story here, didn't we, between these two, and they were able to get after it once again.
100%. This match was, listen, when you announce that you're giving us Ospreay and Pac for free on a Wednesday, I was amped up for this. This was the match I was looking forward to the most of the week for obvious reasons, and they delivered big time. Pac is so good. We know how good both these guys are, but Pac is so good.
I think he's the most underrated wrestler in AEW.
He's up there. He's beaten Kenny Omega twice. He's like
he could be a world title contender tomorrow for me.
If they wanted to do that with him, he would fit right in, and it would make immediately. And Ospreay's back, and he's back flying, dude. He's not messing around. Like last week, he fought Blake Christian and kind of, and it was a quicker match for him, but it was still Will Ospreay. This was a legitimate Will Ospreay match. That's what this match was. He looks like he hasn't missed a beat. Pac is the perfect opponent for him. And it looked like Pac was going to beat him. He was beating the crap out of him.
I thought he was going to.
I was like, is Ospreay going to lose? Are they going to do that angle where Ospreay doesn't have it
anymore
so type
much.
Of thing?
Yeah.
Or something like that. But he sneaks the kind of roll-up victory. And then we saw what we saw after with the beatdown. And
Ospreay has no friends, apparently. I thought Ospreay would have a few friends.
I guess not.
Nobody wants to go against the Death Riders.
Yeah, I was going to say, or maybe nobody wants to go out there when there's 6 Death Riders. They're like, sorry, Will, we love you, but they'll kill us too.
Well, you brought it up too. I thought Pac was going to win, especially when he attacked Ospreay before the bell even rung too. My only little nitpick too about this match is I think there was a couple of times that Ospreay really wasn't selling the neck as much as he probably should have, but it's kind of hard in the moment when you're moving at 100 miles per hour to remember, oh, I got to sell this while I got a guy on my neck. So I get it. I'm just nitpicking like I usually do. But this was easily the match of the night for me. I love what these two are doing. Ospreay versus Moxley's got me very intrigued because obviously they're trying to put doubt in our heads that Ospreay can beat Moxley since he's so banged up. But that makes me want to think that Will's going to get that title at Dynasty. I don't know about you.
I'm definitely leaning that way right now. I do think we are destined for Will Ospreay to win the world title at All In this year. I think he's the one that beats Max.
Would he win the Owen then, like Eric is saying?
Yeah, probably wins the Owen and goes to All In and wins in England against Max. I feel like would be the way to go. Yeah, I think I don't know. It's weird because I feel like Ospreay just came back. He should win the title, right? He should win the title.
Think, but it's Moxley. Remember what we talked about a couple weeks ago?
But it is Moxley. It is Moxley. And then on top of that, I do feel like Will is planned for bigger things as we get a few months down the road here. But
we're getting closer to All In.
Yeah, it's at the end of summer. We're 4 or 5 months away from it now. A lot can happen. He can lose the title to anybody in that span and still win the Owen, and it's fine. And that's probably what will happen.
It's going to happen, yeah. Maybe a Takeshita beats Ospreay out of a respectful match.
Yeah, you do that, or you run, maybe it's a swerve, or it's a, Swerve and Ospreay run back or something.
Love that.
I don't know. But I expect Ospreay to win that. Yeah, that'd be great. I expect Ospreay to win this title from Moxley.
Me too.
Come Dynasty next week.
Eric, I don't know what happened to the Dark Order. They were on that one show with Hangman, and they got sent to the back after that. I'm sure they do a lot of stuff backstage. I think I've heard Evil Uno does a lot of helping with creative and whatnot. I could be wrong there. I'm pretty sure I heard that somewhere. But I don't know where the Dark Order is, Eric. But I do know where the Brawling Birds are, and they're picking up dubs on Dynamite. They're electric, man. What? The chemistry between those two women is insane.
Yeah,
their tag team, I've never seen some of the moves that they're doing out there. They're incredible.
Yeah, I feel like I know Megan Bayne and Lena Cross just won the tag titles, and they should have they should have a good reign, especially for Bayne. But I look at the Brawling Birds, and I'm like, they need to be going right for those titles. And if I was making the booking decisions over there, it would pain me to have to choose who because I think the Brawling Birds are. They are
save that legit, maybe for All In too.
Yeah, maybe because that's you hold Jamie. It. Can you? Yeah. But my problem is I don't hate that. Of course, that makes sense as well. But how the hell are you gonna keep the Brawling Birds hot and relevant in the women's tag team scene for 5 months without them going for the titles?
You can't. That's tough.
Because I just don't think on a regular basis AEW puts enough effort into they've gotten tremendously a lot better when it comes to the women's division as a whole.
1,000%.
But I don't think that they put enough emphasis on the women's tag team division. And if you have a team like the Brawling Birds who are over, like you said, the chemistry, they're just clicking. They got the song, they got the Titantron, they got the matching out, everything. You need to keep them in our minds, in our eyesight for 4 or 5 months if you are going to hold off to do it at All In, which makes sense. 1,000% makes sense. But I can't have them not on TV for half of the next 5 months.
True.
Because we're just waiting to do it at All In instead of.
Well, we can't do everything at All In. We can't have a lot of crowning moments.
What about Double or Nothing? I know that's soon. No, that's soon though.
Then pivot Megan back to the singles title. Honestly, now that we're talking about
Megan
it, how much challenge
win the TBS title from Willow tonight?
That or add another title to the women's division. Take away a title from the men's division and give it to the women.
That would make sense. That would make sense if you
had plenty of talented women out there that deserve a title.
1,000%. And again, Megan's not going to answer the challenge, but Willow Nightingale should be fighting for world titles.
I agree 100%. So I don't know any spoilers either from last night. But I would assume it's Mercedes, right?
I mean, that would make the most sense, but that's a big match to give away with no build, no, I know they've already fought multiple times, but like my expectation was that Mercedes was returning last night.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't do it. All of a sudden, the girl who beat her for the TBS championship, Willow, has an open challenge. I think Mercedes would be the answer, or maybe it's somebody else, and then Mercedes comes back and attacks her after, and that's the Dynasty match. I don't know. But it feels like...
I ended up looking up what the spoiler was, but I'm not going to read it out loud. Don't worry. Nothing on my face.
Yeah.
Stone cold.
So, for me, I like... Willow Nightingale is, in my opinion, the best pure meat babyface in the whole company. Not just in the women's division, in the whole company. She's the best. You could argue
wrestling. All wrestling, you could argue.
Yeah. So I feel like, and again, that's not a disparaging comment about the TBS title, but that is the mid-card title. Willow, to me, is above mid-card status. She is main eventer. She should be one of
100%.
Tekla's upcoming challengers.
She should be
for that title. And I would be okay with that. Tekla's been great, though. Like, I'm not in a rush to get the title off of Tekla. But, like, that's where Willow should be.
I agree.
So I think but again, I also feel like if Mercedes comes back, obviously Mercedes is the world. You know what I mean? I agree with Peggy. I agree with Peggy. It would be weird for Mercedes to return on a tape show.
I will tell you this: it's a former world champion.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah, you got that going. And Eric knows who it is too, and he's not going to spoil it. That's all I'm giving everybody right there. But it's interesting too. This was, I think, the first time the Triangle of Madness has lost a 6-woman tag, if I'm not mistaken. I believe they said that on commentary after the Birds and Mina picked up the victory. Yeah. So, you think this was all just to set up Mina versus Tekla once again at Dynasty?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And then if it gives the Brawling Birds a win, so if they are going towards the titles, you have another win in their chamber, or it builds to a separate, But yeah, this is Mina's getting the rematch because Tekla had to cheat to beat her last week.
I hope she wins.
Mina's getting the rematch, and we'll see what happens. I personally think Tekla probably keeps it for a little bit longer.
Or hear me out. Let me get weird. Megan Vane drops the tag team titles, and she goes after the world title, and Mina Shirakawa.
Well, so if Mina were to win, then I could see that happening. It's
a long shot.
Yeah, they have a lot of good people in the women's division, and people need to step up now that Tony's out.
And Mercedes is still out. We don't know when she's coming back. There's your top two names right there.
Yeah, that's the two biggest names you have in your division, in your company on the women's side of things. And one of them is out for the rest of this year, and one of them's hasn't been around for 4 or 5 months now. So
a better time to step up, right?
There it is. So I'm interested to see what they go, but I like it. You want to run back Mina and Tekla at the pay-per-view? I'm all for it. I thought that match was great last week.
It was.
So I'm ready.
I'm curious, though, what the direction is of Julia Hart and Sky Blue. Do they ever see tag potential, you think, in those two ever again? Because to me, they just seem like lackeys to Tekla now.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think about because Julia Hart, before she got injured,
TBS champion.
Very over. Like, she had the whole presentation, the entrance, TBS champion. Like, she was, theme song. I would say she was near the top of the women's division. And then she got hurt, and I feel like ever since she's come back, they've really never kind of put the pedal behind her a little bit. It does feel like I thought they were going to win the tournament. I thought they were a possibility to win the whole thing. And they really just kind of feel like Tekla's lackeys more than they feel like a viable tag team to worry about in the women's tag team division. So maybe they get the ramp up. You would think that Tekla being the world champion,
that's why I was surprised
give them
they lost.
That ramp up. Like, why doesn't that group have all the gold?
They have the aura, they have the entrance, they have the presentation.
Yeah.
We're just not giving them the W's together, which makes no sense.
We're giving them the Tekla. Like, Tekla's been
Tekla's been on a roll.
She's been on a roll. She's been great, but the other two are, when somebody needs to get beat up, it's the other two, or when somebody needs to lose, but Tekla looks kind of still on the up and up. It's,
Well, I think they gave Julia Hart an opportunity with that title in that singles run that she had with the TBS title. Yeah. And to be fair, it wasn't my favorite reign, and I think she's still got some room to grow, and she's still relatively young, too. I believe she's still in her early 20s. So Julia Hart and Sky Blue have plenty of time to figure it out. I just feel like right now like we said earlier, they're just lackeys. They're just bodies to take all the heat for Tekla, which is fine.
Yeah.
I get it. But Eric asked, do you think there's any chance Mina wins the Owen? I'd say there's a chance.
I mean, yeah, I guess so.
She's top 3, maybe.
Yeah. If she's in it, I would think she has a chance. But
Jamie would have a chance. I'm trying to think of some names here that could potentially win. Willow.
I would think it's going to, Mercedes will probably be in it to defend it, right?
Right.
Sure. So.
Yeah, those are your big names then. Willow, Mercedes, and probably, who were we just talking about? Jeez, I'm blanking. Mina, that's right. Mina Shirakawa.
Mina.
Unless she wins the title. You don't know, Eric. She might win the title at Dynasty, but main event from Dynamite, MJF defeats Speedball Mike Bailey. Once again, Speedball, even though he loses, is getting elevated by just being in this big moment here in the main event against MJF. Tell me your thoughts here on how they close out Dynamite between these two.
Oh, I love this match. I thought that this was, the Ospreay Pac match was probably a slight favorite of mine over this one, but Speedball's so good, man. He's so good. He's killing it. They're rising him up the ranks here where he is in the main event with MJF doesn't wrestle on Dynamite often.
No.
They save that stuff. And for Speedball to get the opportunity to do that and being involved kind of in this storyline off to the side with Omega and like that just kind of shows you how they value him.
Absolutely.
And it's well-deserved. He is a future world champion, big-time babyface. Already is, but he's a big-time babyface for a long time for them. Speedball. And they, listen, man, Max talks a lot of shit, but Max also
he does
backs it up. He backs it up, and I know everybody doesn't like Max, but he has matches like this. He gets in there with Speedball, who's one of the best wrestlers in the world, and he goes toe to toe with them, and he looks like it's just the part about Max that I feel like because he doesn't wrestle a ton, I just feel like it's the part that doesn't get talked about enough when it comes to Max, is that he's also one of the best wrestlers in the world.
Oh, I mean, he's had some of the best matches in AEW history. Yeah. I think back to his 2023 Iron Man match with Bryan Danielson off the top of my head. That's like, and the steel cage matches that he's had. Like, MJF
the dog collar with Punk. The only great match Punk had in AEW.
Probably MJF's best feud in AEW was with Punk.
It's up there. It's up there. And then, he said it after he did Adam the Texas Death. Yeah, he said, best dog collar match of all time, best Iron Man match of all time, best Texas Death match of all time. And to quote the other guy, tell me where he's telling lies.
And he's what, 30?
Just turned 30. At
I'm
Revolution.
32. That is wild.
Revolution was his birthday. He just turned 30.
Holy shit. I mean,
he
really could go down as one of the greatest of all time. When he says that, it legitimately is true.
Yeah, he says he wants to go down as the greatest of all time. If he performs at this rate and he wrestles till when some of the greats wrestled, he will unquestionably be the greatest of all time.
I don't think you could dispute that. And I don't think you could dispute what Eric was saying about Speedball. I think Speedball would be a great TNT or international champion. That is the perfect lane for a guy like Speedball Mike Bailey, especially for right now. Eventually, maybe he could climb the ranks and be in the main event scene. I just see Kevin Knight as more of the main eventer, I think, between the two, if you were to pick.
Well, I think Kevin Knight's going to be the bad guy. So I think Kevin Knight's going to turn on
the swerve stuff,
Speedball soon. I think it's going to happen soon.
That's going to be juicy if it does happen.
Yeah, and then I think that is a feud you have for a few months where it's Kevin Knight and Speedball going at each other.
Summer feud.
Which would be great. Great summer feud. You could do that for a few months, which would be a lot of fun. I think they're both main eventers. I could see Kevin Knight and Speedball eventually fighting for world titles against each other and be like that next, they bring them in together. They're the tag team. Everybody loves them. And then they're that next big feud that always are just fighting each other for years.
I can dig it.
I feel like that's a way they could go. I do think Swerve will eventually poison Kevin Knight. He's been trying to. He's been leaning in his ear a little bit. I think Swerve will poison Kevin Knight, and he will take out Speedball, and then that's where we'll go. But I think right now, they are the trios champions. I do feel like when we're talking as far as like singles competition, I think any of those belts, TNT, International, Continent, any of them would be more.
We're probably leaving out one.
And more than right for Speedball. But he is a future world champion. You can book it. He is a future world champion.
There you go. I'm not going to agree with him on Speedball, but I will agree with you on Kevin Knight. But breaking news coming out of the NFL. My boy, not AOC. I don't know why I almost called him AOC. He got cut. Aiden O'Connell got cut. But Fernando Mendoza has a new backup in Vegas. It's going to be Kirk Cousins.
Oh, wow. That's all right. There we go.
Think of that locker room. Those like two goodies right there going at it.
Fernando's a Massachusetts kid.
Is he really?
Yeah. Yeah, he's from Massachusetts.
I didn't know that.
I think he was like born here and lived, like he didn't like play through Massachusetts, but he was born. He's a Massachusetts guy. So
yeah.
Do you think I know he's your boy. I look at him and I don't think he's going to be that great of a pro.
I'll be completely honest with you. I think he has the mentality. I think he has the mindset to be a great professional. I don't think he's going to be great as a quarterback. I think he's just going to be middle of the pack, average.
He'll have
about
job.
10 years.
Yeah,
he'll have a job for 10 to 15
time.
years.
Yeah.
He'll coach in the NFL probably right after.
Yeah.
Because you've heard those post-game speeches that he's had. He always feels like he's on one and just speaking clearly. So he's a leader. He's a go-getter.
I want him to succeed. I want him to be good, and he could be good. He led a team to a national championship. He was pretty damn good in college.
He was clutch.
Yeah. And if you're clutch, that works. With the games that I fully watched of them, even though they won the games because your team and your coach is great and your team was great, I just looked at him and I'm like, yeah, because there have been and again, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm the biggest college football guy, but I pay attention. I watch football. I love football. There have been so many great college quarterbacks that I have watched in my lifetime where immediately the second you watch
Matt Leinart.
Like, yeah. Okay, you go, all right, that's not going to fly in the NFL. Like, it's good in college.
Tim Tebow.
You can win with these guys. Charlie Ward. You can win with these guys and win that. Chris Winkie. You can win with these guys. And Johnny Manziel, and then but you look at them and you go, that's not what it's, and that's why you see sometimes in the NFL, the guys that are taken fourth, fifth, Bo Nix. You look at certain guys that aren't now that quarterback class might be the greatest of all time because you're talking Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Bo Nix. If those four continue their trajectory and become like the next batch of great dudes, we're going to look back at that draft class and go, that might be one of the best draft classes of quarterbacks ever.
No disputing that. For sure. But for Fernando, I think the thing that's underrated about Fernando Mendoza is his ability to escape and run. And obviously you're not going to be able to do that as much in the NFL because everybody's more athletic and faster and better. But I think that's an underrated thing that once people start pressuring him because that Raiders offensive line, even though they did add Linderbaum at center, so they're starting to protect him a little bit, he's going to struggle in his first couple of years with that line. But eventually, I think he's going to be able to adapt because, like I said, he's so intelligent and so savvy in this football. I think he's going to be a successful quarterback. I'm not saying he's going to be a Pro Bowler and win Super Bowls. I just think he's going to have a successful career and play football for a decade. That's where I'm at.
Yeah,
but hey,
I hope so.
Overall, AEW Dynamite, I'd give it probably a B+, A-. I thought it was a really good show, and the excitement levels for Dynasty are really starting to heat up.
I agree. I was right with you. I gave it an A-. I thought it was really, really good. Again, not as many matches, which I didn't mind because, again, I think part of the reason why I enjoyed the show last night was all the matches got time. There was no rushing. And again, Dynamite has been an excellent television show for 5 straight months. An excellent,
arguably the best weekly television
show.
Yeah.
But I kind of like how everything breathed a little bit last night. There was no, here we're going from here to here to here to here. Oh, match here. Which those nights are fun too, and they're good.
That's NXT.
But yes, this was okay. There weren't a ton of matches. There were 4 or 5. They're not a lot, but every match got time. There was no rushing. There was no 8-minute match. Every match got what they needed to. And I just thought it was a really, really good episode. And Speedball, I thought, was the star of the show.
From the back.
Yeah. And him and Omega kind of, because Max starts attacking Speedball at the end. And, they have that moment with Omega kind of lifting, because Speedball also a Canadian. They were in Canada. So
Hear me out.
Kenny, I would love Speedball to turn on Kenny.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say, what if Speedball turns on Kenny at Dynasty?
That would be incredible, but I think he's just such a good baby face that you just you don't do that. You don't do that. But at the end of the show last night, so Kenny, and this is just because my brain has been poisoned being a wrestling fan for 35 years. And I just assume that everybody's going to turn on everybody at any point. Kenny lifted up Speedball's hand, and the crowd gave him an ovation. And then Kenny kind of like looked towards the commentary table and walked that way, and Speedball was looking at him. And I was like, what if he kicks his head off right now?
That would have been insane.
But it didn't.
Just randomly on a Dynamite in Winnipeg? Yeah.
Yeah, just kicks his head off. And then Max is just laughing.
There's so much stuff that they got going on that has me invested, which I love. And it's not even like, we're not even to Double or Nothing yet, which is one of their biggest pay-per-views. And All In is their biggest pay-per-view. So Dynasty is going to be a great show. And this was a great show too. So overall, I give it an A-. But as I mentioned yesterday on Kayfabe Coffee episode 21, not sure how many more episodes are going to be coming your way for this show format going forward, because I will be accepting a job here hopefully soon. And I also have a weekend in Arizona planned next weekend, and I'm going to WrestleMania in 2 weeks. So I'm going to be very busy these next couple weeks. So I don't know the next time you're going to see us, but the way to keep up with what's going on here at the network is by following us at mainevent_net. That way you know the next time me and JPJ are going to be live. But I can guarantee you, JPJ, I won't be able to record with you the next 2 Thursdays because those are my days I fly out. So
all right,
no Kayfabe Coffee those days. So hit that subscribe button if you want to see more main event content. We're releasing videos almost daily over here. And JPJ, why don't you tell the people what you got coming up later on today?
Yeah, so I will be streaming on my channel, JPJ Loves Gaming on Twitch. We'll be playing some MLB The Show. We got some content coming out today. And like you said, when you said today, hopefully I actually don't have to go to work, but we'll see. But my goal is that I'll be streaming at some point, a little bit later this afternoon, 1-ish, somewhere around there.
I'll be there if you're streaming.
I'll be streaming, bro. I'll be streaming.
We still have the co-op.
I know. They released the April Fool's content yesterday.
I gotta go check it out.
Which was a program where you earn common dog shit versions of the players.
Yeah.
And then today is like the first Spotlight series where they start releasing the cards of the players that have actually performed well in real baseball.
I like that.
So I'm expecting a Wilyer Abreu card too. He's literally the only good person on the Red Sox. My team sucks.
Hey, how about JJ Weatherholt card?
Yeah, that's what it could be. Could be 100%. So the Spotlight series they release every week, and it's updated tops cards of the players that are actually performing well in real baseball.
The live players.
The live players. So that's fun. And then tomorrow there's a huge drop which will be around. So I'll be streaming, but tonight, you know the deal. 8 p.m. Eastern. Pluggo, myself. We got Stone Payne joining us tonight from your neck of the woods. They linked up at the Expo last weekend. He's joining us. We're talking some stand and deliver. We're talking Obafemi and Brock Lesnar from Raw, because god damn, man. Let me tell you.
I bought an Oba shirt after that segment, by the way.
That guy is as
give him everything.
Yeah. And this is going to be weird, and I think it kind of makes sense. And I hate that I'm most excited for a Brock Lesnar match at WrestleMania. I really don't. That doesn't do well for me, but it is what it is. I look at things objectively. I feel certain ways about people, but when I'm watching the show, I'm sure I saw plenty of movies with pieces of shit that were in the movies.
Plenty.
I'm sure I watched a ton of TV shows growing up with absolute abhorrent people on the cast. And so I try my best to just kind of look at things like because it is a TV show.
Mm-hmm.
And Brock Lesnar is still a guy on the TV show to a lot of people that matters. And he's actually the perfect guy for Obafemi to fucking destroy at WrestleMania. And it is what it is. And I look at Obafemi, I feel like Obafemi is the closest thing we have to that first year of Brock Lesnar in 2002.
100%. Upon
arrival.
Yep.
Upon arrival, the crowd is like, who's this guy? This guy's a massive man. He looks awesome. This guy is our guy. They're chanting his name like Goldberg immediately. He's over. He's beating the shit out of Lesnar, throwing him around.
Throwing extras around.
Like, dude, it's not even
He's the coolest wrestler in professional wrestling right now. There's nobody cooler than Oba Femi.
Like, how long are we going to wait before we give, like, this guy should be world champion by SummerSlam.
This year, 100%. I want to see Oba versus Gunther. I want to see Oba versus Roman Reigns. I want to see Oba versus CM Punk. I want these matches. Just think of all you could do with him this year after he beats Brock Lesnar.
Bro,
what if he doesn't beat Brock Lesnar, though?
That would be... Listen, I have said this multiple times. I said it when Cody lost at 39, which I still agree with. If Oba Femi loses to Brock Lesnar, that would be... I don't know if they... That would be he would be done.
It's catastrophic, yeah.
It would be a catastrophic... And he shouldn't just beat Brock Lesnar.
I said that too.
He should beat Brock Lesnar in like under 5 minutes.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be a squash. Like Brock should get some in, but Oba needs to finish him quick.
Yeah.
Because Brock probably has the endurance if you were really to break down the two guys.
Have him hit an F5 early. Have Oba
right off the bump.
Have him kick out at 1.
Boom. You got the crowd right away.
Yep. And then Brock's like, what? And then Oba just fucking wallops him. And
then have Oba toss Brock outside of the ring.
I want it all.
Over the rope.
Yeah, I want him tossing him. We already seen he can give the last ride to him easily. He hoisted him up like a baby. That's how it looked. That's what I need. That's what I need. Brock attacks early, give him your little thrusts in the corner, hit an F5 in the first minute. He kicks out at 1, or even hell, have him kick out before 1. I don't give a shit. And Brock is like, what the hell? And then Oba just beats him in 4 minutes. I
got goosebumps because I know I'm going to be there. And I know that this is the match that is the reason I'm going to WrestleMania. 100%. They convinced me with this feud, legitimately. Plus, things went my way in real life. I ended up, like I said, getting this job. But it was an easy decision after I saw the build to this match, the build to Stephanie and Liv starting to heat up. Roman and Punk has been really good. And a lot of people crap on WWE because that's the popular thing to do. A lot of people crap on Triple H, especially. But Triple H getting involved in that Oba and Brock segment was perfect and made 100% sense because if you look at it through, he's an authority figure. Yep. He doesn't want his two biggest men fighting before the biggest show of the year, Yeah. That's why Triple H was on television, guys. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't like the spotlight though. He doesn't like the spotlight.
He's on every WrestleMania poster.
Yeah, of course. Of course he is. Right dead center of all the commercials.
Do you think that's a him decision or a Nick Khan decision?
I'm gonna say it's a him decision. I'm gonna say it's a co-decision.
Probably.
But again, no. Yeah, they're heating up. They needed to because a month ago I was like, what the hell do I even care about WrestleMania for at all?
Yeah.
But they've done a good job the last 2 weeks specifically. I thought the Raw in Boston and I thought at MSG on Monday was a really, really good show. They're heating it up. Now we know what Gunther's doing. He's messing with Seth, which, again, if the A plans for both of them didn't work out, I'd rather them be doing this with each other than doing nothing at all.
Yep.
And it's going to be a good match with those two guys. Those two guys don't have bad matches.
And they've had world title matches before, I believe.
I think this sets up a long-term storyline where, I know we're talking AEW, but we have a few minutes, but I think Braun Breaker returns at WrestleMania and helps Gunther beat Seth. Then I think Paul Heyman owes Gunther a favor, and he's going to go, I want to retire your boy at SummerSlam in Minneapolis in his hometown. You owe me a favor. Book the match, me and Brock. And I think Gunther says bye-bye to Brock Lesnar.
Look at you. Me and you are always on the same page, it seems. I said that on Monday. Monday, man. I think that's the favor. I think that's how we get to Gunther versus Brock Lesnar. Honestly, there's a lot of things that WWE has the potential to do later on this year that could be really good, especially if they pull the trigger on Oba, especially if they put their ball in Braun Breaker's court. Like, go to the young talent. Trick Williams. Go to Javon Evans.
I do need to say something. One thing that did irk me with WWE. If y'all took a WrestleMania match away from my man Carmelo Hayes for no fucking reason, you can kiss my ass.
Yeah.
I love Sami Zayn. I love Trick Williams. They deserve to be on WrestleMania. Why did Sami Zayn need to win that? The history that Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams have, you couldn't have told that in video packages and a couple promo segments before Mania to describe. Why couldn't... If your goal was we want Trick Williams to fight for the U.S. title at WrestleMania, totally on board with that. He's a star too. Totally on board with that. Why did Melo have to lose a title that him and Ilya helped rebuild fucking relevance.
Well, that's what I was going to bring up. I thought it was going to be Melo versus Ilya. That was all that they were showing us in those backstage segments for months. That was the vision. At least I saw.
If it ends up being a 4-way with Melo and Ilya, and
it should have been a ladder match. That should have been the ladder match, not the Intercontinental title, in my opinion.
That irked and I'm a Boston kid. I've been watching Carmelo since he was on the Indies.
Oh, he's great.
He's great. And but again, all these guys we're talking about are great. But
yeah, what does Trick do without Sammy? Yeah, I guess.
I mean, it doesn't. No. See, that is terrible. And I appreciate you being here, Eric. That is terrible. That is WWE has poisoned his brain.
Yeah.
To have that thought process. Oh, Sammy's not doing anything in WrestleMania? Let's hotshot a title that he doesn't need.
They could have had a WrestleMania match without the title.
No,
they didn't need
you could have had Trick versus Carmelo for the U.S. title match. Just show a fucking vignette. You can make them in 2 minutes, and you're really good at making them. Make a vignette that shows the history of them at NXT.
Boom.
And that's it.
You're set.
Or just make it a multi-man match from the get. I don't know why Carmelo had to lose that title at all.
He didn't need to lose it, because now he's probably getting left off the card unless they turn it into a triple threat or a fatal 4-way for WrestleMania.
And that is horseshit. So that's my one complaint.
Hey, no, you're right on that one. I agree with you 100%. But as always, man, it's good chatting with you this morning. Appreciate everybody stopping by. Don't forget, this Saturday we will be live at 11 a.m. Eastern for our Stand and Deliver predictions. It's Main Event Mixer, episode 45. It will be myself, Mr. Cincinnati from the Wrestling Junkies podcast, and Tino from Tino's Time. So come hang out with us this Saturday. I probably won't be live for Stand and Deliver, though, this Saturday night because I got my brother's birthday party and the Final Four is going on. So hopefully I'll be able to catch that on Sunday. But make sure you're following the network at mainevent_net. I will also be live once again at the same time as JPJ and Plogo tonight with my other half, Brett Haskell, as we discuss the road to WrestleMania 42. So should be a good one tonight. But once again, guys, thank you for hanging out with us this morning. And we'll catch you next time on Kayfabe Coffee, episode number 23. See ya.